Welcome to the first episode in what I'm calling our Tipsy tier ranking series. So, if you were expecting another vlog this week, because I maybe told several of my friends I was gonna put up a vlog this week where I only read library books, one thing about me is I'm a lying liar who lies. And also, I was having technical difficulties and I've been very busy moving and just for my mental health, we're scrapping that. We're gonna keep that for next week after I move and I hopefully have better internet. We're gonna do a whole new video. It's Thursday night right now. I have to schedule this to post tomorrow, so we're gonna do minimal editing. I'm not gonna if I mess up, I'm just gonna keep going. And so yeah, there's that. I also think this series will be fun because I don't really ever drink. Ever, ever, ever. For a couple reasons. One, I didn't really grow up around a lot of people who drank. Second, I don't have a large intestine. Hi. And so if you don't know, your large intestine is responsible for taking water out of your digestive system and giving it back to your body. So I lose a lot of water. So anytime I have a little bit of alcohol, I get dehydrated and wake up with a really bad headache. So I did drink lots of water today. And then the third reason, and I was debating whether or not to share this, I just was in a relationship with someone who was an alcoholic, and so I just had this fear that anytime alcohol was involved, something bad was gonna happen, and I had a lot of anxiety about it. Luckily, I'm ready to try drinking, and I don't really know what I like. I know a lot of things I don't like and that don't taste good. So I'm gonna try a different drink probably every time unless I find something that I really love. Today's drink, and I want to be an influencer, is sorry, the camera is flipped and I can't figure out. This is Mike's Hard Lemonade, but it's strawberry lemonade, which happens to be my favorite. So we will be drinking this original hard lemonade, but it's strawberry lemonade. Love it. Okay, as you can see, we're gonna be ranking some books today. It's a Tipsy tier ranking. I make the tier. It's always going to be unhinged and probably not make sense until I describe it to you. And we're going to be ranking every book that Goodreads ever says I've given 5 stars. Now, disclaimer, I did not start using Goodreads until after college. So there's books like The Hunger Games or The Maze Runner or I don't know, whatever the heck else that I would give 5 stars, but I just wasn't using Goodreads at the time. So those books will not be included here. Oh, fun fact, I never drink, and so that's gonna make me burp. And this is carbonated, so that's gonna make me burp. Sorry, I need a little more. Y'all, wait, this is really good. Wait, I love this. Wait, I love this. I think my sister would love this. Um, anyways, let's talk about the tiers before we start ranking. Top tier is Cremate Me With It. This is one level up from Bury Me With this book. I don't want you to just bury me with this book. I want you to cremate me holding this book. We both turn to ash. You intermingle our ashes until we're one homogeneous mixture, and you put us in an urn together so that my ashes can be one with the book's ashes for eternity. Okay, that's how serious. That's my top tier. I give this 5 stars with my full chest. This is a book I want to be cremated with. I would share an urn with it for eternity. Next is gonna be This Is My Cult, Join or Get Out. This is a kind of book where I'm obsessed. It's my entire personality. I'm drinking the Gatorade, I'm drinking the punch, I'm getting you to drink the punch. I'm spreading this book like it's the gospel. I'm telling all my friends to read it. If you do read it and you don't like it, I'm not sure I want to be your friend anymore, or at the bare minimum, ever recommend or take your book recommendations. So the next tier just says heroine. This is my take on when Edward Cullen says to Bella in Twilight, "You're like my own personal brand of heroin." This book is like my own personal brand of heroin. It's better than drugs. This book made me feel things that were better than doing drugs, and I would inject this book into my bloodstream. I would snort it up my nose. I want this book in every orifice of my body Mm, that sounded inappropriate, but we're going with it because I'm already feeling this beverage. Another sip. That wasn't a sip, that was two large gulps. Whew. Next, I'll take one in every color. I want to own this book. I want to display this book. I want every special edition. I want to share it with people. Like, give me more. It also means, like, I want more books like this. This book, give me 10 more of it. Like, tell me other books that give the same vibe. I want more of it. Next is, I really want to reread this book. Like, immediately. Like, I'm talking about this book and I'm like, oh, you know what would be good as a reread? Oh, made me cry. Something about me is I'll cry in books, I'll cry in movies. And if it made me cry, I kind of like give it an emotional 5 star right off the bat. So maybe it didn't necessarily deserve the 5 stars, but it made me cry. So it got 5 stars. Next is peer pressure. I felt like I needed to give this book 5 stars because all my friends were giving it 5 stars, or everyone on TikTok was giving it 5 stars, or I don't know. And then last is it's probably actually a 4 star. Like it probably is a book I read when I first got into reading and I didn't have much to compare it with. And if I reread it right now, I'd be like, at 4 stars. Another thing is, and I'm sorry to any of my brothers who are watching this, if I'm ovulating, immediately I'm like giving a book a higher rating because I'm just in a better mood. I'm feeling it. So it could have just been the mood I was in or whatever, but it's probably actually a 4 star. All right, let's get started. Um, First book. Oh, and I'm also gonna have my phone up just because some of these books I read a long time ago and I need a refresher. So I will have my reviews up just in case I need a reminder. Okay, this one I read recently. I read this in February of this year. I Who Have Never Known Men. My review says read it in 2 sittings. Turns out I love speculative dystopian fiction. And also, this was originally written in, I want to say French and translated to English. If you read this book, I highly recommend reading the author or the translator's note because otherwise you might not understand the purpose of this book or what the author was trying to do. Also, it's like there's no chapter divisions. It's just like one book that you're meant to like just read. It's very short. I would recommend trying to read it in one sitting. And I'm gonna try not to talk too much about each book because otherwise this is gonna be like a 3 hour video. But I wouldn't say cremate me with it. I wouldn't say it's 4 stars. I wouldn't say I was peer pressured. It didn't make me want to cry. I don't want to reread it. Uh, I might say heroin because I was just able to sit down and binge this, and it was just like such a good feeling, and I loved it. I highly recommend. Oh, Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. One thing about me, anytime you've got a group of gentlemanly thieves who are on a heist together, I'm fucking there. Like Ocean's 11 vibes, but also there's magic and it's like a metallurgy, allomancy based magic system. I hear that Apple TV is going to adapt the series. Literally, yes. Like, if this is a heist, I'm in. I don't know that I would say this is my cult join or get out because I have a lot of friends who don't like, this is fantasy, but it's also kind of giving sci-fi because it's dystopian and the magic system is very like has to do with metal, which is like sciency, I guess. I don't want you to cremate me with it. I don't want to reread. It did make me cry. It's not 4 stars. I think it's I'll take one in every color. Like I want more books with this theme. I really want to read Six of Crows. I hear that's also like heist. I don't know why I haven't read that yet. I should have read that years and years and years and years ago. That's a TBR veteran for me. I think the reason I haven't read it yet is because I want to read the Shadow and Bone trilogy first, and I'm not really motivated to read that. So whatever. But yeah, Mistborn is like a heist. The main character, her name is Vin. I highly recommend. Anyways, the next up, 84 Charing Cross Road. I found this book all by myself. My little sister definitely didn't tell me about it. It's like 70 pages, and I might be making that up. But I read it in one sitting. It's so fun. It's nonfiction. It's a series of letters written between this woman living in New York City who's a writer. She writes like episodes for TV shows. Like she's kind of like a freelance writer. And then this man who works at a bookseller. Am I already tipsy? At a book. They like buy and resell used books, antique books. Love, would recommend to everyone. Want to reread ASAP? I didn't make me cry. It's not peer pressure. Heroine. I loved it. It made me laugh. It made me emotional. It's not cremate me with it. Is it Join My Cold or Get Out? I think I want to put it in, I'll take one in every color because I want more books like this. And I would probably go to my sister for these kinds of recs because she went through a period, probably is still in this period, where she was into like epistolary or apostolary books. I never know how to say it, but it's that genre where it's all told through like letters or emails. But this whole book is told through letters. Highly recommend. Oh yeah, my review said if you like The Correspondent, but make it nonfiction. This is Brandon Sanderson, Hero of Ages. This is the third book in the Mistborn series. You'll note that the second book is not on here because I love a heist. I love when you take down a corrupt government. I don't give a single crap about rebuilding a healthy government. That's like so hard, and like I get so cynical and jaded because it's never going to be like the ideal, and things are always going to be so messy and there's difficult choices. But the third one got 5 stars purely because it made me cry. And if I'm feeling generous and I'm willing to stay up tonight, I might insert a montage of me sobbing my eyes out reading the last few chapters of this book. It wrecked me. And so if I do that, that'll go here. City of Glass. This is the third book in the Mortal Instruments series by Cassandra Clare. The first two books, even if you didn't like them, I would go get through them just to get to this third one. This is a YA, so young adult, urban fantasy. They're like in New York City, and there's, let me look at my review. Yeah, I literally said this book completely redeemed the Mortal Instruments series for me. It checked most of my boxes: character development, plot, pacing, action, slow burn romance. I would recommend reading the first two books in the series just to get this one. Um, Read this if you like YA fantasy, really slow burn, sibling rivalry, secret identity, vampires, werewolves, fae, and warlocks teaming up, plot twists, fight scenes, and angels versus demons. This is like Heroine. It also just reminds, it's so nostalgic for me because I first read this series when I was in high school, and so it just like, it's the nostalgia, it's the instant dopamine hit when you reread a book that you loved when you were younger. So yeah, attachments is another one that I found through my sister when she was in her phase of wanting books that are like told through letters or emails. I wouldn't highly recommend this one because it is a little dated and there are a little like politically incorrect things that happen. I get this one mixed up with I Hope This Finds You Well. I think I Hope You Find This Well is about this girl who works in an office, like a corporate office, but she works with like terrible people and she gets really like she's kind of passive aggressive, and so she'll respond, or no, they're passive aggressive, and she'll respond to their emails and be like, yeah, so much, thanks so much, I'll definitely look into this, and at the bottom she'll change the font color to white and be like, you stupid bitch, I hope your sandwich is rotten and that you get food poison. Like, she just writes like all this nasty stuff. Well, one day she gets caught doing that, has to go to HR, falls in love with the HR guy. Anyways, I don't think that's what. And so, talking about that reminded me. Attachments is the one where it's told from this guy's POV who works for like this company that got a software that can read all of their employees' emails. And so he tries to just read the ones that are flagged for like potentially like being off topic or suspicious content or anything like that. And he starts kind of having a parasocial relationship with this girl and her best friend who use their work emails to share all their personal business. I'm gonna put this in I'll take one in every color. I want more books like this. Thanks, please send them my way. Shatter Me and Unravel Me. It's either Heroine or it's Cremate Me with It. I think it's Heroine. This is another series I read when I was younger and then I reread as an adult. Shatter Me, and I mean, at this point, this book is like over 10 years old, I think. At this point, if you haven't, it's gotta be 15 years old. If y'all haven't read it at this point, like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna spoil it for you. This is the first book I ever read where the first male love interest that they introduce, you slowly realize is kind of toxic and not good for her. And then the guy who's the villain, you start to slowly realize is a good person. And so, like, the first love interest introduced is an endgame. And then the guy who seems bad is actually good. And that there's so many books that do that now. Like, I think of Akatar and stuff like that. So, yeah, this is just gonna have a place in my heart. Unravel Me, love it. And then I think I have the third book on here, but I don't think it comes up for a while. If He Had Been With Me, and also like a lot of my friends have read this. For the record, I read it first, okay? I remember where I was. I was listening to it on an audiobook going for a walk with my dog. I listened to most of it in one sitting. My review is very long. I'm gonna have to like scroll through it if I put it on the screen. Um, oh, and I know. If he had been with me, everything would have been different. I first read this book in July of 2023. It's now May 2024, and I haven't stopped thinking about it. 5 stars forever. And then I said I will need 5 to 7 business days to process the final chapters of this book. Wow. Yeah, so I definitely did a reread. This is about two characters, Autumn and Finn, whose moms are best friends, and they're both like single moms, and so they kind of like raise them together. They grow up best friends. And then they kind of veer off in different social directions. Like Finn becomes more of like a soccer player, Jock hangs out with cheerleaders, is popular, he's handsome. And then Autumn, she's very smart, but she's she's pretty, but she's quirky. Like she likes creative writing and poetry and reading and like being kind of like goth, but she like wears a tiara. And she just kind of fits in more with like the misfits and the misunderstood crowd. This is either going to be this is my cult, join or get out, or cremate me with it, or made me cry. It could go in any of them, and they're all valid. Made me cry. This is my cult, join or get out. I'm not gonna say that because I don't. Not everyone likes YA. I don't know if it's cremate me with it. I think it's gonna be made me cry. Sorry, I said it. Sorry. Okay, Red Rising is next. This book is my whole personality. This is currently like my favorite series of all time. Cremate me with it. For those of you who don't know, this is like a space opera, but like a revolution where they end up it's dystopian. It's in the future. They end up terraforming most of the planets so that they're livable, but they don't tell. It's a caste system. So at the top are the golds, at the bottom are the reds. They don't tell the reds that they terraformed it a long time ago. They're down under the surface of Mars, um, mining for the substance that helps them terraform the planets, and they're being told like you're sacrificing so that future generations can like survive and you're helping humanity. What they don't know is people have been living on other planets for years. They're using them for slave labor. And so, like, long story short, it is a full-fledged interplanetary revolution. It'll make you cry, it'll make you laugh. Severo is my favorite character. I there's Red Rising, Golden Sun, Morning Star, and then there's a 10-year gap, and then it's Iron Gold, which I'm reading right now, and then Dark Age, Lightbringer, and then I think then the next book that's gonna come out is Red God, which is supposed to come out this year, maybe, hopefully, fingers crossed. A Court of Mist and Fury. I'm basic, yeah, shut up. We all know that. 5 stars. And let me look at my review. Oh, I said this is a spoiler free review, so we'll keep it frustratingly vague. In the first book, Feyre is put into some traumatic, messed up situations. She's forced to make impossible choices that leave her full of guilt and self loathing. In this book, she has severe PTSD, which includes symptoms like nightmares, nausea, depression, weight loss, and very negative self talk. One of the things I loved most about this book is her healing process. I loved the way the first person narrative allows us to witness the shift in the way she talks to and thinks about herself. Um, Another thing I loved about this book was that the author reveals villains to be heroes and heroes to be villains. Yeah, I'll forever love this book. I'm ready to reread. I want to reread ASAP because it was announced that the next book after the last book is Court of Silver Flames. We're getting another book in October, I believe, and then one after that in January. So, yeah, this is like one of my favorite books of all time. I've never reread them just because I have been waiting, because I knew it was an unfinished series. So, I've been waiting for the book release announcement to reread. The time is now, y'all, and I might even reread like all of Throne of Glass, all of Crescent City, and all of ACOTAR. Maybe I'll vlog it. I am currently rereading Crescent City, which I'll talk about later when those books come up. A Court of Wings and Ruin, A Court of Mist and Fury is the second book in this series. A Court of Thorns and Roses comes first. It's really like setting the scene. I think I gave it 4 stars. It's really just like setting the scene for the other books. It's a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and in my opinion, it didn't get really interesting until like the last 10%. I love the second one. I love the third one. On a reread, the third one would probably be 4 stars. I think I gave it 5 because A, it made me cry. But it's probably 4 stars because there is a scene, no spoilers, but like not to be crass, but I can't get it out of my brain that there's a scene where two love interests are making sweet, sweet love in a tent in the middle of a war zone. Like the battle is over for the night, everyone's back at their tents, like collecting the dead, healing the wounded, and they're having sex. They're fucking while people are screaming in pain and dying in the background. And I don't think I can get over that. I also don't like it, makes it feel very low. This is kind of a spoiler, but I'm going to say it anyway. Sorry if you don't want to watch the spoiler, skip ahead like 15 seconds. I find that it makes it very low stakes for me, and ruins my trust in an author when they kill off a character just to bring them back to life. It makes me not take the book seriously. It makes me think it's not high stakes because anyone could just be brought back to life. And I feel like it's just like kind of a cheap trick. And anyways, I'm gonna drink some more. Also, sorry if I'm talking too fast. I just get excited, and also I'm a little tipsy. And also, like, I just don't want to talk too long. I don't want this to be a 3 hour long video, but like mom specifically, there's a tool on YouTube where you can click the little settings button and change the playback speed so you can slow it down to like 0.9 or something if you need to. Anyway, okay. Oh, I wanted to read part of my review for A Court of Wings and Ruin, even though it's probably 4 stars. I said the first book, ACOTAR, made me fall in love with the places. The second book, A Court of Mist and Fury, made me fall in love with the people. This book brought me to literal tears at the thought of losing either one. If a book makes you cry, you know it's a good one. And then I'll show a screenshot of my review, but I like, for some reason, was in the mood to like talk about each section of the book and how I felt about it using only emojis. This could go under make me cry, but it also could go under probably 4 stars. Okay, now we've got a few books in the Throne of Glass series. Air of Fire is probably 4 stars. I gave it, it's probably peer pressure actually. It's probably a 4 star book for me, but I just had heard a lot of people that I really respect their opinion say Air of Fire was their favorite book in the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. I think it's actually not even in my top 4. So it's probably a 4 star. I was peer pressured. It's a book that's more, it's like the prologue and then the first 2 books take place in one city. In Air of Fire, the characters all spread out and go to different places. And it's like where because they start out as like teenagers and then they're getting older, they're getting more mature, they're honing their powers and their abilities. They're learning what they're really fighting for. It's a lot of emotional healing and growth. And so it is very important, but it just wasn't my favorite. Now, arguably my favorite in the whole series is Empire of Storms. This might actually be my favorite book of all time. This is gonna be I want to reread ASAP. It's gonna be Heroine. It's gonna be this is my quote, join or get out. I don't know if it's cremate me with it. I think it's Heroine. But I also want to reread ASAP. I'm gonna put it under Heroine. Kingdom of Ash, though, I think that's a cremate me with it. It also could go under made me want to cry or made me cry. Queen of Shadows, my review literally just says I immediately want to reread this, so I guess we know where that's going. Boop boop. This one, I believe, is the book that introduces my favorite character in the series. So, Assassin's Blade, peer pressure. A lot of people were like, this made me cry. This was so upsetting. There's a couple different ways you can read the Throne of Glass series. You can read it in publication order. Assassin's Blade is actually a prequel. So, first book that was published was Throne of Glass, then Crown of Midnight, and then I believe that's when I went back and read Assassin's Blade. Then I did Heir of Fire, then Queen of Shadows, etc., etc. Because I'd already read other books, the events in this one were spoiled for me, so I knew what to expect, and so it didn't have the emotional impact I wanted. So I kind of wish that instead of reading it in publishing order, I'd read it in chronological order and started with this one. I think I would have enjoyed it more, but upon reread, it's probably 4 stars. I think I was peer pressured, just because everyone gives it 5 stars. So anyway, Morning Star. My review says, I'll write a thorough review of this book one day, but today is not that day. Please, for now, please respect my privacy while I process my thoughts and feelings. I still haven't written the review apparently. Um, this one is. This one is. This is my quote, join or get out. Golden Sun. Now, I am a sensitive girly. I should never have watched Game of Thrones. I was in a long term relationship with someone who kind of like peer pressured me into watching it, and I felt like I wasn't in a place to tell them no, even when some episodes made me a little uncomfy or gave me literal nightmares. There's a character that comes along later in the series who likes to like mess with people, and I literally still think about it sometimes. And anyways, but one thing that I did get out of Game of Thrones is this reference. Golden Sun has a scene that is like the red wedding in Game of Thrones, but make it be in outer space. So if that means anything to you, reread it or read it. I think I'm gonna put this in. This is my quote: "Join or get out." Literally, ignite me, cremate me with it. There's a scene in this book. There's a scene in this book. She literally, the FMC goes to the house with like the guy in the first book that you think is going to be Endgame, and she's like, hey guys, I found a safe place for us to stay, like come with me, we can do this. And the mailman character, or the original mailman character, is like, you're such an idiot, why would you do that, blah blah blah, and he like goes off on her. Meanwhile, the guy you think is the villain, who's the true love interest, guy gave her this button, and he said, if you need me, press this button and I'll come. So the whole time that the first guy is like chewing her head off, and this whole room of people isn't doing anything about it, she has the button in her pocket and she's just pressing it, pressing it, pressing it, pressing it, pressing it. And the guy, the like villain guy who we love, comes through the door and he doesn't care about anyone else. They're all pointing guns at him. He doesn't care. He looks at her and he says, what do you need? Like, I'm here. What do you need? Y'all, lift your hips for me, love. Hey. And we're moving on. The Nightingale, I don't frick with historical fiction anymore. I just feel like it all like sensationalizes World War II or just covers like women suffering. And I'm not really interested in that right now in my life. If I reread it now, it'd probably be 4 stars. I think maybe I was peer pressured. It was also one of the first books I read when I got back into reading, so I didn't have a lot to compare it to. It did make me cry. So I'm probably gonna put it there, and that's all I'll say. The Hating Game. This is arguably, I'll take one in every color. This is my cult, join or get out or cremate with me. Psst, cremate me with it. This is the first, my sister recommended this to me. It's like the first book that I ever read that had like workplace rivals to lovers done right. Guys. They hate each other, right? They play this game where they hate each other. They play the copycat game. They do everything to annoy each other. They work at a publishing industry that was originally two different publishing companies that merged into one, and the two that merged, they all hate each other. And they both came from different companies that eventually merged into the one, and y'all, they hate each other so much. So explain to me why his bedroom is painted the same color as her eyes. Riddle me that. It also has a sick scene where he has to take care of her when she's sick. Like, literally. This is my quote, join or get out. Also, when my library used to have Hoopla, I would use a monthly credit. We only got like 2 or 3. and for movies your credit only gets you like 24 or 48 hours or something, I would use some months I would use all three of it to just watch this movie over and over and over. The dialogue alone is worth 5 stars. I won't hear complaints. Oh, I also said that I said in lieu of a summary, let me take this time to explain to you why this book is Dramione coded. For those of you who don't read fan fiction, Dramione is a combination of Draco and Hermione, so it's like an alternate timeline where Draco isn't like a villain. He was put in some unfortunate circumstances and he's like morally gray, and Hermione ends up with him instead of Ron because, like, let's be honest, Ron never deserved Hermione, but like they call each other by their last names or their full names. The MMC comes from a wealthy family that values power and success. The FMC is brainy and bossy and has a big heart, and she comes from a more humble family with less money. They're academic or workplace rivals. There's tension, there's snarky banter, and I have never read a Hermione coded book I didn't love, for example, Divine Rivals, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So, some people hate this next one, The Cruel Prince. I'm obsessed, and actually, obsessed would be an understatement. I wrote that in my review. This is like OG whimsical fairies that are like woodland creatures who can't tell lies, but they trick you by twisting the truth, and everything you say, like, you're held to that. And it's like modern times. So this girl grows up in the human world eating fish sticks and watching TV, and then one day she goes to be raised with her twin sister in and their older sister in the Fey world, and is raised by this like warlock warlord, and she's just like a human girl around fairies. And there's a little bit of like minor bully romance. I've also heard that people who don't like this, like they didn't like that the romance wasn't a main feature. It's not, y'all. This is a political fantasy with a hint of a subplot of romance, and that subplot kept me fed. So this is my cult joiner, get out. And that's all I'll say. I also said, read if you like whimsical world building, YA plot with grim undertones, a magical kingdom hidden in the modern world, fairies and magical creatures, characters you love to hate, spies, thieves, assassins. Read if you also enjoyed Lightlark and Nightbane by Alex Astor, Percy Jackson and the Olympians by Rick Riordan, and The Mortal Instruments by Cassandra Clare. Okay, the next book is the first book in the Crescent City series. This is House of Earth and Blood. I actually just reread this with a friend. This story I've heard explained as like Zootopia fan fiction, but make it sexy. Like, it's this city, kind of like New York City, but it's called Crescent City. And so there's like modern technology, there's phones, there's like they go clubbing, they like do drugs, but they're all like there's a lot of there's fae, there's witches, there's merfolk, there's also all kinds of animal shifters, lion shifters, deer shifters, bear shifters, snake shifters, and at the heart of it is like a murder mystery. Yeah, I said this story centers around Bryce, a baddie girl who works as an antiques curator and likes to party with animal shifters. It's a high stakes murder mystery set in a big city filled with a bizarre juxtaposition of modern technology and old magic. Crescent City is home to fae, witches, merfolk, angels, animal shifters, and a whole host of other magical creatures. I like to imagine it as a sexy Zootopia. Yeah. So this I would put I want to reread ASAP, but I already did. Made me cry, peer pressure. No, I did give it 5 stars again. I don't want you to cremate me with it. This actually, I might be wrong, but I think Sarah J. Maas started writing this just like to practice her writing skills on the side and to be able to write for fun with not all the pressure of like deadlines and editing, and ended up publishing it. So I just also love that. I think this is heroin. I just love the world. It's flawed for sure. Probably doesn't deserve 5 stars. There's like some feet stuff and some other stuff and whatever, but 5 stars is a feeling. So another book where 5 stars was a feeling, The Wall of Winnipeg and Me with Mariana Zapata. Mariana Zapata is an author who is she is the queen of slow burn. Like, with her books, the characters aren't even going to touch hands until 90%. They're probably not even going to kiss until 98%, and I love that. This is a book where Aiden is a professional football player. He lives in Canada. That's why he's called the Wall of Winnipeg. He's huge. He's a defenseman, I think. And his assistant Vanessa is like tired of his bullshit because he's super type A and grumpy and mean. She quits. She gets home like 2 weeks later and he's on her doorstep and he begs her to come back and he says, actually, can you even like marry me? So they like start like a marriage of convenience or a fake marriage so he can get a green card. And also her other job that she wants to pursue is really cool. She like designs special edition covers for books. Um but yeah, I like she like comes back on her own terms, and yeah, I think I want to reread ASAP. Loved it. Or it might be Heroine. I think it's reread ASAP. Love it. I also don't want to reread it because I want to read all of Miranda Zapata's other books. I think her only ones I've read are I think the only ones of hers I've read are The Wall of Winnipeg and Me, and then All Roads Lead Here, which originally I gave 5 stars. I lowered it to 4 stars because the female main character is 35 years old and she's on having to hold herself the whole time and do the pee pee dance because she constantly has to pee. They can't drive for 5 minutes without her being like, "Can you pull over? I have to pee." And I just feel like that's infantilizing. Bottoms up. um, Oh yeah, it belongs in reread because I put this is my new comfort read. I will be rereading in the future. Long Shot by Kennedy Ryan. This was a recent read for me. August, the main character, he it starts on the night that he's in the college basketball national championship. He gets drafted into the NBA. He's a sweetheart, ooey gooey, perfect, precious, amazing. He gets a crush on this girl who ends up in a relationship with his rival NBA player. And that's like a really unhealthy relationship, but it's like slow burn. She's with someone else. There's pining, there's yearning, there's years that pass where they're not together, and it's painful and it's hard. And definitely search up your trigger warnings because they both go through a lot of suffering before they get together in the end. And I don't believe in the whole thing of like you have to suffer to deserve a happy ending, but I do think this is a good picture of like domestic violence. He is not the one who does intimate partner violence, just so you know, but like there is domestic violence, and I think it just like explains how women like victims of domestic violence like can get in that situation even if you're smart and strong and capable. Like anyways, made me cry so bad. Made me cry. I've reread already City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. My friend Sive got me to read this. It was one of the first books I think I read when I got back into reading. This is like God tier, cremate me with it. One of my favorite series of all time. The first time I read it, I gave it 4 stars, but I think it's because the world building is just a heavy lift. And I think I got so much more out of it the second time around, and I gave it 5 stars. I said, I posted an original review and then I posted an update, but my updated review said this book was so worth the reread. There was so much quality content that I missed the first time, and everything held so much more meaning the second time around. And the first time I didn't realize there was a bonus scene in the back of the book. The first read was just dipping my toes in the water. The second read was where I got to enjoy the book and dive into the deep end. This book has a lot of world building to wade through, new terminology to learn, and a long political history to familiarize yourself, but it was 10 out of 10 worth it to me. I'm officially obsessed. I have a very long review. I'll like scroll and show it to you, but highly recommend if you're into like high fantasy with it also like takes place in the Middle East, and so like there's like jinn and it like there's Aladdin vibes because there's like a magic carpet. And anyways, obsessed. I read 3 books to get 1 kiss, and that's all I'll say. The Mind F series, this check your trigger warnings. She is a serial killer, and he is the FBI agent profiler trying to find the serial killer. Little does he know it's his 5 to 90 pound girlfriend. She did not like trick him into this relationship. She didn't know who he was. He didn't know who she was. They actually genuinely fell in love and are in this relationship, and it was a complete coincidence. Scout's honor. It's very dark. It did have enough comedy to keep me going. I read it in one weekend. It's actually the Mind F series is actually 5 novellas. They're each around 100 pages, so I think of it as like one 500 page book. But like, this is my cult joiner. Get out or cremate me with it. I think this is my cult joiner. Get out. but it's not for everyone. It made me cry, I think. It might be cremate me with it. I don't think everyone should read it. So I'm not gonna not be your friend if you don't read it. Bear Town by Frederick Bachman. This is not a fun read, but it is an important one. That's what my review says. This is like a small town in, and I can't remember, and I don't want to be ignorant, but I want to say Sweden, Switzerland, somewhere. That town is crumbling. Their factories are closing and being replaced by this bigger city that's nearby. The whole town like revolves around hockey, and so like this hockey team has the chance to change the entire town's economy and provide jobs, long story short. But something happens the night before like the semifinals for the hockey game or something that like changes everything. This whole book takes place over like 24 hours. It was crazy. Um Made me cry. This is my quote. Heroin. I have read the first and second. I haven't read the third just because I'm scared. It's not heroin. I didn't feel great. Is this a cremate me with it? No. I think it's an I'll take one in every color. I don't super want to reread it. I don't know what to tell y'all. I'm just gonna stick it there. Um, Kingdom of Copper. So City of Brass, then there's Kingdom of Copper, then Empire of Gold. So this is the second book. I said, wow, masterfully written. I just closed out of wherever I was. Oh, phew, I'm back. Okay. Masterfully written, gut wrenching, intricately layered, nuanced, emotional, thought provoking. This book actually takes place 5 years after the conclusion of the first book. It hit harder than the first one, but it also hurt more than the first one. I did like a whole character breakdown of who I like, who I don't like, and who the jury's still out on. This is gonna be, and I'm gonna put it next to its mommy. This is gonna be cremate me with it, and I'll go ahead and put Empire of Gold up there too. I'll put them all together because they're a family. Empire of Gold. I can't remember what I said. I said this book was nothing like I'd imagined and more than I could have hoped for. The ending was that satisfying feeling you get after finishing a puzzle and seeing that all the pieces fit together perfectly. Chef's kiss, which I apparently say too much. I have a feeling these characters will stay with me for a long time. I'm so proud of all my emotionally guarded, sassy, rebellious little buddies. Nari, Dara, Ali, Jamshed, Muntadir, Zainab, Razu, Fiza, and more I can't mention without spoilers. I'd recommend this for fans of the high fantasy genre who enjoy extensive world building and lots of political content. It is very political. So if you don't like political fantasy, stay away. The romance would definitely be one of those ones that falls on the back burner. It's the ultimate slow burn. We wait 3 books for one kiss, but that was everything for me. That did everything I needed it to do. Love in Other Words. This is very timely to mention. Thank you for asking. Everybody be talking about Every Summer After right now and reading that if they hadn't already, because Every Year After just came out on Prime. I get Every Summer After and Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren mixed up because they are very similar in my mind. They're both dual timeline. They both are about childhood friends that have some sort of falling apart, don't talk for several years, something brings them back together much later in the future, and a second chance romance. I think my review just says this book is messier than my junk drawer and I loved every second of it. I think this is a cremate me with it. This is like an all-time fave. I want to reread it. This is my quote: join or get the fuck out. Respectfully. Daisy Jones and the Six, you have to do this audiobook. If I had read it, it might have been 4 stars, but um doing the audiobook, yes, I'll take this in every color. I love all of Taylor Jenkins Reid's like historical fiction, but like near historical fiction, like 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. I love Daisy Jones and the Six. I love Atmosphere. I love The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I love Carrie Soto is Back. Like, give me every single book like that. Like, all of them. And I will eat them up. House of Sky and Breath is the second book in the Crescent City series. I gave both this one and the second one 5 stars. The third one I didn't just because it was like so hyped up in my head and it didn't live up to the hype. House of Sky and Breath, I vividly remember the first time I read it. The prologue was like 40 million pages, and I was like, what's happening? But I haven't stopped thinking about that prologue. I want that prologue to be its own book. There's characters in the prologue you don't really hear from again, and I need a whole book just about those characters. I think it would make an amazing movie. I'm obsessed. It's like a fever dream. It's crazy. The plot is crazy. Like the characters are crazy. It's phenomenal. I said I need 5 to 7 business days to process the events of this book, so everyone please be respectful of that. I'm just gonna stare at a wall and salivate until my copy of Crescent City 3 arrives on January 30th. SJM is the eighth wonder of the world, and I'm so thankful to live in a time where her writing exists. This series might even cure my depression. And then I said I'd recommend this if you enjoy, and listed some other things, which I'll put on the screen, but we're gonna keep on trucking along. Here's another book, just like Daisy Jones and the Six, that if you do this, you have to do the audiobook. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder is set up like a podcast, and it sounds like a podcast. Like the main character is interviewing people. I believe she lives in England or somewhere in the UK. For her high school senior thesis, she's like uncovering a murder that had happened, a murder suicide, and she doesn't think who they think is guilty is really guilty, and like no one was ever actually technically guilty, but the guy that everyone thinks did it, his whole family is like shunned. She's determined to figure out what really happened. It gets pretty dangerous and a little scary. But this was heroin. I loved the whole trilogy. Definitely do audio. Like 100%. Heated Rivalry. Let me just read you my review. Usually, I'm not a big fan of romance plots that begin with physical intimacy. I prefer a slow burn that starts with emotional intimacy and culminates in physical intimacy. But I think this worked for me because even though there was physical intimacy pretty early on, they convinced themselves that they didn't like each other and they were just using each other. The emotional intimacy was the slow burn. There was still a feeling of yearning and pining because the MMCs were only able to see each other on rare occasions and because their relationship was so forbidden, and it takes place over like a decade. This is the rubric for rivals to lovers. Authors take notes. I'm just obsessed with Shane and Ilya's entire dynamic. The story is engaging and had a really satisfying conclusion. I'll be reading everything that Rachel Reed has ever written and everything she ever will write. Prepare for me to become even more insufferable. I have now read The Long Game and finished it. I gave that one 4 stars. I tried to read so Heated Rivalry is actually the second book in this series. The first one, The Long Game, I tried on audio, and the narrator's voice drove me crazy. So I'm gonna have to do that one as a physical or ebook read. And then I've heard her 2 standalone books, which are more recent, are very, very good. I think this is a cremate me with it. This is my quote, join or get out. Heroin? Is it better than drugs? I think it's better than drugs. I want you to inject Heated Rivalry into my bloodstream. And that's all I'll say. Okay, They Never Learn. This is big deal because this is a thriller, and I think it's the first thriller I ever gave 5 stars. Also, I have 2 books by Lane Fargo that I've given 5 stars. This, I said strap in and hold on tight, ladies. Fargo's plot twist will take you on a roller coaster ride. First time I've ever given a psychological thriller a 5-star rating. It's totally deserved. Highly recommend. I shan't say anything else because you should really go into this, read knowing nothing and having no expectations. Have fun. It might be 4 stars on a reread. I don't know, but I liked it. I don't want to reread it because I already know the plot twist. I don't want one in every color, but no, that's a lie. I'm gonna put it in I'll take one in every color because I'd love to own this. And then also, like, I want more thrillers that are like this because I don't think I love psychological thrillers, but I like ones that are like this. So like, if anyone can give me more Rex, I'll take 10 more. The next one, I shan't hear nary a criticism. Better than the movie's Lynn Painter. If you've read Lynn Painter's adult romances and thought they were mid, me too. Lynn Painter shines in her young adult romances. So many older authors, especially writing young adult romance, it's so cringy. They're trying too hard. She writes young adult romance like, I'm like, wait, this is actually how teens talk. Like, this feels real. It feels normal. Like, cremate me with this fucking book. Like, I want its ashes and my ashes intermingled. Like, I'm obsessed. This is like boy next door who's always been annoying, but like secretly, and like she uses him to try to get with another guy, but then ends, y'all, and it's YA, nothing happens, there's no spice, but there's a scene in the car that changed my brain chemistry. I also love how the female main character, she just, her mom passed away when she was younger, and her mom loved like 90s rom-coms and dressing super girly, and so like even though that's not super cool, like the feminist thing is to be like, I hate pink, my favorite color is blue, and I only like dress like a tomboy. She's like, no, like I wear dresses and ribbons in my hair, and she likes to come up with a soundtrack for every vibe. She's super into movie, like she wants to create movie scores, and I just love her, and I love Wes, and I love Liz, and I think I would get a tattoo for them, like legitimately. I'm obsessed. I I said this book is my whole personality now, and I am knee deep in Lynn Painter's YA romances, and I don't want anyone to pull me out. Her characters are so real and lovable. Her banter is top notch. Her pop culture references are sprinkled like salt generously, just like I like it. Her characters speak, think, and act appropriately for their ages, and yet the pop culture references will appeal to the 20 to 40-year-old crowd. Each chapter also begins with a well-known quote from a quote from a well-known romance movie, so that might also get you because a lot of those are like from the 90s. So even the millennials will enjoy. Anyway, highly recommend. Highly, highly, highly. Manacled. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this since Alchemized came out and like Manacled isn't available on AO3 Archive of Our Own anymore. But like this is my cold joiner get out. Let's go ahead and do Alchemized too. She'll find it. Don't you worry. If anyone's looking at it and thinking, Abby, you dumbass, I'm tipsy. Leave me alone. Found it. Whew! This is my quote, joiner get out. For those of you who don't know, Manacled, let me just read my review. This is a fan fiction that explores an alternate universe in which Voldemort wins the Battle of Hogwarts and all hope is lost. It's extremely high stakes with heartbreaking losses. It's true enemies to lovers. It's devastating. It's raw. It's dark. It'll rip your heart out. The writing is easily 5 out of 5 stars, which is so impressive because this was fan fiction, guys. She just posted this on her own in her free time for no money with no editors except for maybe like a beta reader. At the time I read this, it was free to download, and I'm so thankful I did because when authors who write fan fiction are traditionally published, they remove all of their fan fiction from the internet. So unless you already have a copy downloaded, you can't access it anymore. It's fan fiction, and yet it was still written better than some traditionally published books that I've read. So yeah, I would recommend to fans of enemies to lovers, Harry Potter fanfics, World War II parallels, spies, double agents, all hope is lost, forbidden love, forced proximity, anti-hero, morally gray characters, morally black characters, touch her and die, burn the world for her, and then like the whole like forgotten memories, amnesia, flashbacks trope. The way this book is like set up, and Alchemized is very much the same. Alchemized is, I'm not supposed to say this because they're like separate, but Alchemized is Manacled, but make it traditionally published. Remove all of the Harry Potter and Handmaid's Tale references because it's like Harry Potter, but also Handmaid's Tale. Which I tried to watch that. I didn't even make it through the first episode, and I said, "This is too much for me. I'm too sensitive. I can't handle this." And I DNF'd that TV show. If you don't know what DNF means, it means I did not finish it. Anyways, it starts out in present time with the female main character supposedly has memories that are very important to taking down the last members of the Order of the Phoenix who are in hiding. And she doesn't remember though. She's like done some occlumency in her brain to protect those memories. So you're in present tense. She has lost a lot of her memories. She doesn't even remember what it is she's supposed to remember. Something happens, she gets her memories back. You go back in time and you get several years of all that information, and then you jump for part 3, you jump back into present time, having known that information going forward. I wouldn't say these are a romance, I would say they're a tragedy. I think they are political fantasy. They're dark, but they do have a romance subplot that'll change your brain chemistry. But definitely search your trigger warnings because they are dark. For sure. A book that I didn't know I needed and came into my life completely out of nowhere. I don't even own this, y'all. I read the audiobook on Libby on a whim. And I'm obsessed. This is like Join My Cult or Get the Fuck Out. The Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Boulley. This is her debut novel and it took her 10 years to write it. Yeah, it's like okay, I'll tell you. Going into this, looking at the front cover, I said, "Oh, this is going to be a fantasy." It's not. It's actually like a young adult contemporary fiction with a little thriller glitter thrown in. Um, so it's about 18-year-old Donis. She's biracial. Her mother is white and comes from a wealthy, prominent family from Sault Ste. Marie in Michigan. Her dad is a Native American from the Ojibwe tribe of Sugar Island, which is located in Chippewa County, Michigan. They live very close to Ontario, Canada, so the book takes place in both the US and Canada. They go across the border between Michigan and then Ontario. There's Native American language, Canadian slang, and it's set in 2004, so like blackberries were still elite, so there's some like nostalgia there. Anyways, the premise is that obviously, as I said earlier, Donis doesn't really fit in with either side of her family. She's too white for her father's side of the family and too Native American for the wealthy white part of her mother's family. The only place where she really fits in is when she's playing hockey. Did I tell you there's also a heavy line of hockey throughout the book? She had plans to play Division 1 hockey at a big university, but due to a death in the family, she decides to spend a year at a local college in order to support her mom and her grandmother, but she ends up fake dating this cop in order to investigate a meth ring as a confidential informant for the FBI. So, highly recommend. And I would say like yeah, there's a lot of like new terminology and like different words from different languages, but I think the author makes it very easy to use context clues to figure it out. Like she makes it very digestible and it is young adult. So like if you're my age, you should have no excuses. Highly recommend. Project Hail Mary. This was a recent read. I read it in less than 24 hours, couldn't put it down. I immersion read it, so I had the physical copy from the library and the audiobook at the same time. Highly recommend. I don't think it's a cremate me with it. I think I want to own it. I think it's I'll take one in every color. I think I want more books like this. Sorry. I'm fading. I'm gonna drink some more. What's next? Everyone in this room will someday be dead by Emily Austen. This is the book that got me into Emily Austen. Wow. I laughed out loud. I contemplated the meaning of life and my own existence. I loved it. Such a raw, irreverent, and clever picture of what it looks like to live with generalized anxiety disorder and major depressive disorder, which both GAD and MDD I have as well. My only complaint is actually a compliment to the author. I felt too much while reading this. It's emotionally heavy, but I guess that shows the author is a talented writer because she was able to make me feel so connected to a character's thoughts and feelings. Originally, I gave it 4 stars and said I might change this to 5 stars if I keep thinking about it. And I did. It's been months and I still think about it. So this is a is it cremate me with it or is it join my cult or get the fuck out? Yeah, that's what it is. And that's all I'll say. 7 days in June. Appropriately, it is June. I read this 2 Junes ago, and every year I say I need to reread this in June because I originally read it like at Christmas time or something. So I do want to reread in June, probably of next year, so not ASAP, but my favorite quote from this book, he says it or she says it, he says, I stayed alive for you and you killed me anyway. Yeah, this book I remember reading on a recommendation from my friend Sive, and I got to the end and I knew something bad was about to happen and I couldn't handle it emotionally. Like read the trigger warnings, it's very heavy. Um and I had to call her, and she just stayed on speakerphone with me while I read it because I was so scared. But yeah, highly recommend. Highly, highly, highly recommend. If you can't tell from the spread here, I like fantasy, I like romance, I like some other stuff. I don't really read nonfiction, but when I do, I love it. How to Keep House While Drowning. This is a book for neurodivergent girlies. Let me just read my review because my brain ain't braining. This is for all the women who were taught that real women keep a clean home at all times. If your house isn't clean, you're a bad person. If your house is dirty, you're a bad person. It helped me realize to be kinder to myself about the state of my home. The cleanliness of my home should function to serve me and my family, not the other way around. This one's for the neurodivergent girlies who struggle with keeping a clean home due to anxiety, depression, ADHD, PTSD, or ASD. The author, Casey Davis, is a licensed professional therapist. She even wrote this book with neurodivergent readers in mind, which she explains in the author's note. Something about me is I'm always going to read an author's note. Do y'all read author's notes, or is it just me? Um, so she has short chapters, a short book. The audiobook itself in totality is only 3 hours. Clearly stated main points, literal language instead of figurative language, and the few times she does use figurative language, she explains it using literal terms. Um, and yeah, just like it kind of rewired my brain that I don't think about chores, I think about care tasks. So I think like I'm doing this for my future self because it's going to be so nice to get up for work in the morning and already have my outfit steamed and laid out for the next day. I also like ever since reading this book I think about night shift and morning shift, like closing shift and opening shift. So on closing shift, I'm like a bar maiden, closing down the bar, wiping the counters, making sure all the dishes are done, turning the lights out, and that's the kitchen's closed, like closing shift. And then like opening shift, you turn the lights on and you're getting everything set for the day. And like, anyways, um, yeah, I probably need to reread. I think it would be good to get a refresher on some of this stuff. Like, she has really good systems for people who get overwhelmed really easily and who are like, I'm going to clean this out. And they pull everything out and then they get overwhelmed and then they stop. She just has really good systems in place. And I think it would just be a good reminder for me, especially since I'm moving and all my stuff is in boxes and all over the place. And I'm one of those people who's like, I need to unpack immediately. I need the reminder that it's okay to like take my time, slow down. I also did the audiobook for this from the library. I want to own a copy and I want to highlight it and I want to loan it to friends. So I could also put this in I'll take one in every color because I'd like to own it. One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. This is a gothic fantasy. The world building, the magic system is so freaking unique. Um, it's like tree based, like everyone's last name is a tree. There's like, and it's also a card based magic system. So there's this card called the Nightmare, and this girl touches it when she's little. The nightmare goes into her brain, and now like he's in her head all the time, and he can kind of like override her sometimes when she's in serious danger and she gets like claws and can like kill people. Anyways, I don't know if y'all can tell. I'm feeling it. I'm just gonna read my review. 5 stars for the magic system, the enemies to lovers, the heists, the political intrigue, the mystery, the found family, the fake dating, and the beautiful writing style and word choice. This is a gothic fantasy with elements of folklore. Elspeth Spindle, if you can't tell from her name, it's very like folklory, teams up with an unlikely band of allies to help save the kingdom of Blunder from a magical curse. Can the monster within help her without consuming her entirely? Love, like, bury me with it. Actually, I want to reread ASAP. I want to reread this, actually, not ASAP, but in the fall. Yeah, and a friend got me hardcover special editions of, because I didn't own them, of One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns, and so she got them for me for Christmas last year. So this year I think I want to pull those copies out and like read them and annotate them and like highlight my favorite quotes and like sleep with them under my pillow probably. Okay. Ooh, my first Elsie Silver cowboy romance. This is Off to the Races is the first book in the Gold Rush Ranch series. You probably heard of the Chestnut Spring series. Elsie Silver writes cowboy romances and I'm fucking here for it. This book, this book gave me the will to live. If you need me, I'll be rewatching Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron and researching the Kentucky Derby. Read this if you like the touch him and die trope, but the him is a horse. This was Heroine. The whole series, I loved it. I ate it up. It was all on Kindle Unlimited. And I think I got a couple of the audiobooks from Hoopla back when my library had Hoopla. We've switched to just having Libby for budgetary purposes, which are totally understandable. They said that Hoopla was accounting for like 70% of their budget or something, and so I'm not mad about it. I get it. Okay, these next two, shut up and listen. I'm gonna burp 1 second. Oh, okay. Okay, shut up and listen. Lightlark and Nightbane. These books are forever 6-star books. I view this in my heart. This is between me and God. This is a duology, okay? Did she come out with Skyshade? Yeah, that book's dead to me. Did she then come out with Crown Tide? Yes. Did I read it? No. Am I gonna read it? No. Is there still another book in the series that's gonna come out? Yes. Will I read that? No. I don't like the choices she made with the series. I think it should have just been a trilogy. I think it should have been done differently. That doesn't change the fact that Lightlark and Nightbane are a 6-star series for me. They were amazing. I'll put my review up for both, but um, I'm obsessed. Lightlark had a twist at the end that had me reeling, and then you don't realize, but actually I'm not gonna say because I don't want to give you any spoilers, but these are cremate me with it, both of them, or join the cult and get the fuck out. Like literally, I will hear no criticism. I also put in my review Alex Astor in these books. They're about 400 pages. She does in 400 pages what some romantic authors try to do in 600 to 800 pages, and I just find that very admirable. I like when authors can be concise and respect their readers' time. The Will of the Many. This is very similar to Red Rising. There's kind of like a caste system. They're both like inspired by like Roman and Greek political systems, and they're both like dystopian. They both have very interesting. Red Rising doesn't have magic. Will of the Many does. So Red Rising is sci-fi. Will of the Many is like fantasy sci-fi. This guy, is he Vis? I confuse him with Vin from Mistborn. The magic system is basically like everyone has to give up will, so like your will to live, like your energy, your productivity or whatever. Well, he doesn't. He's never given will and he's never received it. He's just raw dogging life. And he ends up getting adopted by this guy whose brother went to the school for like the really rich and elite. And they said he committed suicide, but he doesn't think he did. He thinks there was something nefarious afoot. So he adopts Vis, I believe his name is Vis, trains him to go to this school and rise to the top so that he can investigate his adoptive dad's brother's death to figure out what really happened. The second book just came out. I'm obsessed, but I do need to. It's been a while since I've read this one, and I do need to reread. So I want to reread this one ASAP so that I can read the second one. Also, me and my brother-in-law, my older brother-in-law, we don't like talk on the phone. Like that's not a thing. But I read this and I said, you need to read this because I know you can read fast and I know you're very smart and you'll get it and you can answer my questions. I had a list of 13 questions to ask him. We spent over an hour on the phone discussing this book ad nauseum. Is that the phrase? Ad nauseum? Ad nauseum? Anyway. Magnolia Parks, to make it make sense, do I realize after reading Magnolia Parks that I love contemporary, it's not really even contemporary romance. I would say it's more lit fic with a lot of romance, but it's very toxic, messy situations. It's like watching reality television, but reading it, cremate me with it. I'm obsessed. It takes place in London. It's all of these rich best friends and all of their drama, and I'm just gonna go ahead and grab all of them. Let me see. There's so in the Magnolia Parks universe, it goes Magnolia Parks, Daisy hates. Magnolia Parks, Long Way Home, Daisy hates The Great Undoing, Magnolia Parks Into the Dark. Magnolia Parks, her plotline is now wrapped up. Daisy Hates is not, but we don't even have a release date for the next Daisy Hates book, and I don't want to talk about it. So it's Magnolia Parks, then it's. I'm just gonna throw them up here as I see them. Magnolia Parks, Long Way Home, I think that is. Magnolia Parks, Into the Dark, is that one? Daisy Hates The Great Undoing goes here. And then Where's the other Daisy hates? Do y'all see it? Do, 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 do. If it's not here, I riot. Here it is. That would go here. Perfect. Wow, my biggest section is cremate me with it. Because here's the thing, I either love something or I hate it, and I'm obsessed with that series. Viola Davis Finding Me made me cry. Beautiful. Highly recommend. This is a memoir. Listen to the audiobook with her voice. I did have to put it down several times because some things were so upsetting that I needed a quick little break, but highly recommend. I do realize I've been talking for like an hour, so I'm gonna start speeding it up. Book lovers, perfect, brilliant, amazing. I'll take one in every color. Everything Emily Henry has ever written, I want. Like, let's go ahead and get Emily Henry actually. Happy Place. Made me cry. A little bit of peer pressure, but I'm gonna put it under I'll take one in every color. Do I have any others by her? If I don't, that's criminal, because I'm pretty sure Funny Story for should be 5 stars. Pretty sure Beach Read should be 5 stars. Where are they? That's crazy. Well, that's a mistake. Maybe we'll have to do another book of like, or another video of like books I didn't give 5 stars that I think do deserve 5 stars. Silver Under Nightfall, this was heroin. This was so unique. It was so interesting. He's like half human, half vampire, and he hunts and kills vampires. So vampires hate him, but also humans hate him because he's part vampire. And then there's like this mysterious disease. So he teams up with these vampires to try to cure it and gets wrapped up in this whole situationship I'm obsessed with. Thank You for Listening by Julia Whalen, probably 4 stars upon reread. I just really respect her. If you don't know, Julia Whalen narrates like all your favorite romance books, and then she wrote one of her own and narrated it herself. Obsessed. It's witty, it's emotional, it's cutie. I said Julia Whalen is a goddess among humans and deserves all the kudos. Ballad of Never After. This is the second book in after a Curse for True Love. Is that the third one? And the first one is, I can't remember. All I know is if I have the audio, I'll put it in the background. But cremate me with it. The ending of this book, I left my sister the most feral voicemail. Um I think it does have spoilers, so if you don't want spoilers for this book, don't listen. But if you don't care, yeah, listen.
Hey Lydia, it's Abby. I'm physically not okay right now because I just finished the Ballad of Never After. It's 11 o'clock on Tuesday night, and I don't know how I'm going to go to sleep after this. I'm full of rage and sadness, and I'm cold because it's cold in my room, and I had to keep my hands above the blankets to hold the book, and I'm upset. And I really wish you would have answered the phone. And can we just talk about the beauty that was the last 50 pages of that book? Like, even if the rest of the book was mid, the last 50 pages earned it 5 stars without a doubt. Like, the fact that everything happened, and then Jax came and he found her, and he said, I'm going to use the stones to go back in time and save her. But they didn't even know! It's like, and it just, all of a sudden, when she dies, it just says the end, and then it goes back to chapter 45 or whatever. And then she doesn't even realize he's already gone back in time and that he chose to save her instead of choosing to go back to Donatella. She doesn't even know, and that broke my heart because he just wants her to not die. And then he's mean to her so she won't die. And then mother-loving trucking fucker up. I mean, I did all that to not say the F word, and then I said the F word anyways. But freaking Apollo comes and finds her. The spell's broken, and he don't like how caught up she is over Jax. So he uses the power of the arch to make her forget everything. Then he walks away, leaves her in misery, and then gets into a fancy, cute little outfit and walks back and says, I'm your husband, I'm here, and picks her up in his arms, even though she doesn't even remember who he is. And he's such a piece of shit. I want to wipe my butt with him instead of.
The Plight Before Christmas. This actually, I gave it 4.99 stars. I said the only thing keeping this from being 5 stars is that after doing the deed for the first time, the MMC says that was fire, and I just can't endorse that kind of behavior. So it probably should be a 4 stars, but no, heroin. It made me feel so good. I want to reread it this Christmas. I already can't wait. I read it on Kindle. I want to buy a copy. I want to own it. I want to read it every year on Christmas. Let me talk about some other Christmas books while we're at it. Holiday Romance. This is two people who meet on a plane because they both fly from like Chicago or something to Ireland. Like both of their families are from Ireland. And they is this heroin? Yeah. They meet every year on their flight to Ireland and become best friends, and then like one year their flight gets canceled, they have to spend Christmas together. Snowden is like an interconnected standalone to that. The guy in this one is this guy's brother. It's like second chance romance. It's like a bride leaving her wedding. It's forced proximity because obviously they get snowed in. Do I have an I think I have oh, Cruel Winter with You. This is a novella by Ali Hazelwood. Ali Hazelwood's novellas are elite. Okay, they're elite. This one like is like 70 pages, y'all. It's 5 stars. I still think about it. I need to reread it this Christmas. I wish I could just own a copy of that little baby novella. Do I have any other Christmas books? I don't see any, but that doesn't mean they're not there. Speaking of novellas by Miss Ali Hazelwood, Yes, Yes, and Yes for Below Zero, Heroine. Heroine, this girl, they're both okay. So if you don't know, Ali Hazelwood writes a lot of like STEM based books. So like the characters work in science, technology, engineering, or mathematics. And in this one, this girl is going to Antarctica, South Pole, North Pole. I don't know how science works or geography. Geography is like literally my weakness. And she gets put in like a dangerous situation, and this guy she thinks hates her like comes and rescues her, and like heroine. Daisy Hates, I already talked about it. My review literally says no one talked to me. My reviews are either like several paragraphs or one line that is out of context and is zero help at all, or I just don't leave one because I'm not in the mood. Please pause, my sister's calling me. Sorry, my sister called me specifically to sabotage me. Next up, my babies. Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. Infinity Stars, bury me with it. Y'all, he crawled to her. This is Hermione coded. Again, he comes from money and a family that cares about power. She does not come from money, but she's a brainiac. They're workplace rivals. They're competing for the same position. Only one of them can get it. It's like World War II coded, but add magic. Like if World War II, but the war was between gods. And she gets called out to the war front to find her brother, and like perchance he meets her out there, and perchance there's like magical typewriters. I said, find you a man that crawls to you, and that's all I'll say. Um, just read it, and I'll put my review up. But like, read the fucking book. Now, Ruthless Vows, I will say this one was slower. I don't like books where the first one they get together and then they're separated in the whole second book. They're just the whole plot is them trying to get back to each other. It did make me cry though because spoiler alert, skip if you don't want to hear this and you haven't read this yet. Skip like 10 seconds. It made me cry. Her brother dies, and I have a brother who has passed away, and it hit me hard. I sobbed, and for me, if a book makes me cry, 5 stars. So maybe it didn't hit for everyone. Just for me, I had like a very emotional relationship with it. The book is probably more like 4 stars, but I just had like a visceral reaction. I said I'll be sending Rebecca Ross a vial of my tears. What a beautiful conclusion to a beautiful duology. Rebecca does what a lot of writers aspire to do and fail, which is to produce lyrical, poetic prose that isn't too flowery and unwieldy. She flawlessly created a world that I could experience with all 5 senses. Her writing is not only descriptive, but also full of meaningful themes, heartbreaking storylines, and riveting action. She writes flawed but lovable characters with believable motivations and weaknesses. This book is like if historical fiction and fantasy had a baby. This is their love child, and I'm obsessed. Catch me upstairs corresponding on my magical typewriter and drinking tea with far too much milk and honey. So that's all I'll say. Betting on You is the very first Lynn Painter book I ever listened to. Cremate Me with It or Heroine, or I want to reread it ASAP. It's Heroine, but I do want to reread ASAP. I want to get the audio on Libby. All of her YA books are narrated by Jesse Valinsky. And I love her. I love the way her voice works, and I'm obsessed. And yeah, I haven't stopped thinking about this book since I finished it. I'm obsessed with it. The next one, sorry, I heard a car and I got scared. The next one is missing. It was supposed to be Draco Malfoy and the mortifying ordeal of being in love, but it's not on here. But that would go in Cremate Me with it. It has the best banter I've ever read. And I'm still going to go ahead and put my review on the screen because I did give that 5 stars. It's like Harry Potter, but if you made it contemporary romance where they're like forced to work together. In this one, Hermione is a healer working on like a top secret project, and people don't want it to happen. So like her life is in danger, and Draco is an Auror, which if you're not familiar with Harry Potter, is like he like protects people and fights crime. He's like a wizard policeman, and he's assigned to protect her, but she doesn't want to be protected, and he doesn't want to protect her. I read this in 2024, and I said this might be my favorite book of the year. I originally didn't give it a rating because you're not supposed to rate fan fiction, but I've decided if it's 5 stars, I'm gonna rate it 5 stars. But if it's anything less than 5 stars, I just don't rate it. Can't rave about it enough. Hands down, the best banter I've actually ever read. Highly recommend. This is Harry Potter fan fiction about Hermione, now in her early 30s, who's working as a medical. I lost my place. Medical researcher and healer, she's a prolific player in both the muggle and magical worlds, and she's on the verge of a huge scientific breakthrough, one so significant that her life is in danger. Draco, who works as an Auror alongside Harry and Ron, is assigned to protect her. So, anyways, that's not on here. That's probably something I did wrong. Trust of the Emerald Sea. This is the very first book I read in 2025. Some people don't like this. It was exactly what I needed. Um, and I'm gonna put this is my quote, Join or get the fuck out. This is like one of Brandon Sanderson's like secret projects or something. I forget what they call it, but it's like crowd funded, fan funded. It's like his take on The Princess Bride, but if Buttercup had gone after Wesley and instead of just like waiting around and wondering if he'd come back or if he was dead, like if she decides to go out and save him and find him, but also make it sci-fi. So like she's on a boat most of the time working on a crew trying to find this guy, but instead of water, they sail through pores, and like different oceans have different pores that if they get wet, they can sprout thorns or like noxious fumes that'll kill you and destroy your boat, and like you'll all die. And so it's like you can't have any like it's very interesting. Anyways, I loved it. Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. This is It Made Me Cry. I'll take one in every color. I do own it. Heroine. This is my quote, Join or Get Out. If you don't like Kennedy Ryan, if you don't like this book, I don't want anything to do with you. I said, this book made me miss my therapist. This is a story of loss, grief, healing, and hope. It's beautifully written. It's a messy picture of a redeemed marriage, 5 stars, and then some. Y'all, about this couple who has like they have like 2 kids, I think, and they're in like their maybe early 40s, and they own a business together, they own a restaurant together, they co-parent really well. They just had a lot of really traumatic things happen back to back to back, and the wife was like, I can't do this right now. I can't grieve and be there for you and do this marriage thing. I need to be alone. So they get a divorce, but then it's like second chance romance. Love. Love. Serpent and Wings of Night. This is Hunger Games, but make it be with vampires. Araya, the female main character, she's a human, but she was raised by the king of the vampires. So she was trained to fight. This is Heroine. This is Join My Quote or Get Out. This is Cremate Me with it. I'm gonna say Heroine. She enters this competition, and the plot twist be plot twisting. Changing All Stars is the reason that I DNF'd from Blood and Ash by Jennifer Lynn Armentrout. Changing All Stars is so short for how much happens in it. The author really respects his readers and is so concise and so intentional with every single word in his book that then after that, when I read From Blood and Ash, and I wanted to take a red pen to it and cross it out and say, cross this out, and you're saying the same thing 3 different times, you're wasting my time, you don't respect me, you don't think I'm smart enough to understand something the first time, you're wasting my time, no thank you. Are you getting paid by the word? I don't understand. Chain Gang All Stars is a near dystopian where it's near dystopian in America where the prison system is completely privatized and prisoners who have like a life sentence or a death sentence can choose to volunteer to be like basically a gladiator and fight to the death in like football stadiums. And if you survive the gladiator ring for like 2 or 3 years, you earn your freedom, but no one ever has. And like the first time you ever fight, you have to spin this. They make it all reality television as well. Like even their personal lives are like live streamed for like reality television. But like the first time you ever compete, you spin a wheel, and you could get like a wooden spoon, or you could get like uh, a frying pan or whatever, and that's all you have to fight against someone with like a huge sword or a hammer. You have to beat someone and kill them in order to get their weapon, and then the more gory you're able to be when you kill someone, the better weapon you like. You get more blood points, so you can upgrade like your food or your clothing or your lodging. Anyways, cremate me with it. If you don't like this, I don't want anything to do with you. Stolen Air is by the same author who wrote Cruel Prince. It's like a follow up series from that about a character who is a little boy in The Cruel Prince and he's now grown. In Stolen Air, this book was so whimsical and unique. The girl in it, she uses terms like my unfather, my unmother, my unfamily. Because, and I don't want to give anything away, but I listened to the beginning of the book several times, not because I was confused, but because I was so obsessed. It was heroin, I loved it. Didn't love the second one in that duology, though. Fourth Wing, shut the fuck up. I loved it. Cremate me with it. That's my whole vibe, okay? Already talked about Magnolia Park's Long Way Home, Happy Place. About Happy Place, I did say I'd recommend this to people who want to feel seen in the way that friendships change in your late 20s and early 30s. I had a fun time but got emo, so it was exactly how I like it. Lisa Jewell, none of this is true. Nods head vigorously. This one's for the true crime girlies. It's a psychological thriller told through the lens of a true crime podcast. I would highly recommend the audiobook because it's got all the sound effects and bells and whistles. I was hooked from the first mention of baby food, if you know what I mean. This was heroin. I remember I was at my friend's house when I finished this audiobook and I just sat there and I was like, what? Literally, I was like, wait, what? What is true? What's true? What's true? Is none of it true? Is all of it true? Hmm. Two Twisted Crowns is the book that comes after One Dark Window. I'm gonna put this under I want to reread ASAP, and I'm gonna put it next to its sister. My review says no notes. The series has everything: character development, atmospheric setting, poetic prose, imagery and juxtaposition, plot and pacing, found family, forbidden love, and a beautifully intricate magical system. I'm obsessed. I need to own these books, which I do now, thanks RP, my friend who got them for me. I need to reread these on an annual basis. I will accept no criticism. The Nightmare is hands down my favorite character. In the first book, One Dark Window, the Nightmare is trapped inside Elspeth's head. In the sequel, Elspeth is trapped inside the Nightmare's head. Love the Nightmare's like hilarious commentary, especially because he's in the body of a teenage girl and he puts words in her mouth. He had me rolling. In close second place for favorite character is Renelm or Elm Rowan. He is baby boy. And for some reason I was in the mood to tell you what Taylor Swift song best fits each of the characters. For Elspeth, I put and with absolutely no context. For Elspeth, I put You're on Your Own Kid, I Did Something Bad, Haunted. For Raven, I put Maroon, Red, The One. Oh, Elspeth and Raven are the two main characters in One Dark Window, and then Elm and Ione are the main characters in Two Twisted Crowns. For the Nightmare, I put Look What You Made Me Do, The Great War, and The Lakes. If you couldn't tell, I was kind of in my like folklore era. For Elm, I put This Is Me Trying, Antihero, My Tears Ricochet. For Ione, I put Tolerate It, Cardigan, Vigilante Shit, Slut, Paper Rings. For Emery, I put Never Grow Up. For Tilly, I put Come Back, Be Here. And now I'm emotional. Um, Oh, I'm looking at my review of Daisy Hates the Great Undoing, which I already put up with Cremate Me, and I just put a bunch of quotes from the book that I loved. I didn't even write a review. That's another thing I'll do is I'll just put all my favorite quotes. I won't even write a review. Like, okay. Nothing like the movies. This goes after Better Than the Movies. I don't think it's Cremate Me with it though. I think it was Heroine. It was a very I was so excited when I heard it was getting released. I thought Better Than the Movies was gonna be a standalone. And then this came out amazing. It's second chance romance, forced proximity, it's perfection. Good material. This was a recent read. I read this in January, February, March, April. Um, this I don't know if I would recommend to a bunch of people just because like all my friends are married and have kids. But I felt very seen in this. I said Jen's POV at the end of the book was so raw and so real and relatable for me, especially as someone choosing to be single and childless in her 30s. I need to own this. I need to reread it regularly. If you love me and you're watching this, please buy me a copy of this book. I need to own it and reread immediately. And I want one in every color, but I'll put it in reread. The main part of the book, I would say 75 to 80% of the book is told from this guy's perspective. His girlfriend broke up with him and he doesn't understand why. And he's a comedian, he's a stand up comedian, but he also has a bunch of side jobs to make ends meet. And he's looking for some good material for his set because he's not doing well as a stand up comedian. But he doesn't want to talk about his breakup. And then in the end, you get her POV and what was going on behind the scenes and why she decided to break up with him. And wow, amazing, perfect. Never, that might be a lie. I related to this so heavily. Not many of my friends I think will, so that's not why I'm not gonna say this is my cult join or get out, but I will say I want to reread this. I want to own this. This was amazing. Loved it. Six Scorched Roses by Carissa Broadbent. This is a novella that comes after. Where did I put it? Serpent in the Wings of Night is a duology. So there's Serpent Wings of Night, Ashes and the Star Cursed King. This chronologically happens between the two, but I would recommend reading it after both books in the duology. I wrote why in my um book review. I'm not going to read all of it though because this is going to already super long. I'm going to put it on the screen shortly, and then also I have my Goodreads and Fable linked in my channel description and in every single video description, so you can also just like go look it up. But this was Heroine. This was Beauty and the Beast, but make it vampires, which is like catnip for me. Like, yes. Okay. Assistant to the Villain. This is probably 4 stars on reread. Same with Apprentice to the Villain. I think that I just was so excited for these books because I followed the author on TikTok when she was making all of her shorts about like what it would be like if the office, like if you were a secretary in an office but you were working for a villain, and I found that so interesting. But I just think I'm over it, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. Out on a Limb. Bury me with it, cremate me with it. This is my cult, join or get out. Um, Beau Durand, that man has my heart. I want to reread this on Halloween. I'm obsessed. Mom, don't watch. Butcher and Blackbird. Wait, I lost it. Okay, Butcher and Blackbird was supposed to be on here. I'll put my review up. It said I had a good time. I lost my appetite more than once. I wouldn't recommend this to anyone I know. I'm currently listening to. So, Butcher and Blackbird is the first book in a trilogy. It's the Ruinous Love, Darkness, Ruinous Love trilogy or something. And then I only read the first one. The second one was too scary for me, so I didn't finish it. I might go back and finish that trilogy. Now I'm reading the first book in her new series. It's the Seasons of Carnage. I'm reading Taurus season, and I'm loving it. But I realized I love Butcher and Blackbird even more. And originally I didn't rate Butcher and Blackbird. I'm realizing now it's a 5 star for me because if Taurus season is 4 star and Butcher and Blackbird was even better, it's 5 stars. Okay. Bride. My review says, I'm not here to critique literature, I'm just here to have a good time. This is an arranged marriage between a vampire and a werewolf alpha. Hell yeah. This is heroin, it's better than drugs. Give me 10 more of it. Give me 10 more. Oh, good. I've already talked about a lot of these. Oh, another Christmas book. Most Wonderful Crime of the Year. This was amazing. I want to reread this Christmas. Well, I just read it last Christmas, so I'll take one in every color. I want more books like this. Thanks. My friend Sive and I went to Charlotte this past Christmas when I was reading it. I might, if it's okay with her, link that vlog so you can see when I was reading it. Also, that vlog is just so good if you want to laugh. Me and Sive together, There's nothing I love more than making that girl laugh, and so I feel like I'm my most funniest self around her. Yeah. Our Infinite Fates is about fated mates who reincarnate every time they reincarnate. One is fated to kill the other, and as soon as one kills the other, they reincarnate in new bodies and they're destined to constantly fall in love and then kill each other. Dude, this was better than drugs. This is heroin. Highly recommend. Please sedate me. I need to be sedated. I need more like it. It could also go under I'll take one in every color. I want more books like that. Five Broken Blades. This is Korean inspired fantasy. It's a heist. There's like five people who work together. My review says I'll never not give a heist plot with a group of criminals who become found family. 5 stars. Read if you like found family, heist plot, secret identity, enemies to lovers, lovers to enemies, bodyguard romance, forbidden love, class differences, betrayal, revenge, assassins, spy masters, capable females, burn the world for her, surprise royal, grumpy sunshine, damsel in distress, and Korean inspired fantasy. This will probably be 4 stars on reread because the second book I hated. And I'm like, wait, how could the first one be 5 stars and the second one I DNF'd? Not Another Love Song by Julie Soto was Heroine. Come to find out it's Reylo inspired, and if you're not sure what Reylo is, it's like Kylo Ren and Rey from the Star Wars movies. Turns out I'm a big fan of that dynamic, and my review says searches Reylo fanfics turned into published books. Like, I'm pretty sure this was originally a Reylo fanfic, and she removed all references to Star Wars, made it about musicians, and traditionally published it. I'm obsessed. And speaking of Julie Soto, she also wrote Rose in Chains, which is a Hermione fanfic. This is heroine as well. Let me go to my review if I did write one for that one. Let me see. Nope, I didn't write a review. Basically this is like she wrote a fanfic called The Auction where Hermione is like sold at auction and Draco like buys her to protect her, but guys, it's so good. Oh my gosh, I need the second book right freaking now. Onyx Storm, I understand the hate. I understand why a lot of people didn't like this. The plot is very cyclical. I loved it. I ate it up. I think it's because I had done a full reread. I had like looked up podcasts and YouTube videos about the other books. I went to an all-nighter book release with my friend Sive. I won first place in trivia and I took off work the next day and read the book and it was a whole experience. It was heroin. I was gonna put probably a 4 star on reread, but sorry, I'm at my sister's house and I keep worrying that like they're gonna come home and I'm gonna be like talking about books like a freak and they're gonna be like, okay, get out. But they just have better Wi-Fi here than where I'm currently living, and I can't wait to move into my apartment. My Wi-Fi router showed up today, and I'm like, thank goodness. Okay. The Night and the Moth. This was very atmospheric. This you need to read with the right expectations. I was just telling a girl at work about this today. I said, okay, I loved this book. It was like stepping into a gothic fairy tale with just the right amount of whimsy, darkness, cleverness, and charm, and I was so here for it. This book was such a gothic fairy tale dream, whimsical, dark, funny, and just really original and creative. The gargoyle obsessed. He's everything to me. His mixed up idioms were hilarious and weirdly relatable, and his banter was one of the highlights of the book. He's precious, he's hilarious, he's weirdly wise in his own way, and honestly, he kind of steals the show. And I call him the gargoyle because you're not supposed to know his name until the very end. And then there's Rory. He's the male main character. He's a knight. He's not your typical fantasy love interest, and I mean that in the best possible way. He's not the tall, stoic, grumpy warrior archetype. Instead, he hunches to hide how tall he is. He has crooked bottom teeth and wears smudged charcoal under his eyes. He has 3 gold earrings in one ear and a brooding goth boy energy. But he's also super emotionally mature, and he's like very, very, very protective, but also supports women's rights and appreciates a strong woman. More of this, please. Like the female main character in this, she's like a muscle mommy, and I loved that. And their banter, perfection. They're so mean to each other. Their dynamic is so funny and sharp and touching, and I loved it. Also, normally I don't go for like travelogue or quest based fantasy, but I think that with the humor and the lightness and the whimsy, it all balanced out very well, and I can't wait for the second book to come out. This is. I think this was heroin at the time. It was just like what I needed. It was like better than drugs. I already talked about Alchemized. The irresistible urge to fall for your enemy is the traditionally published version of Draco Malfoy and the mortifying ordeal of falling in love, which I've already talked about. So it's like this girl, I can't remember her name in this traditionally published version, but she's like a healer, and then this other guy, she like gets to be her protector, and they hate each other, but they fall in love, and I'll take one in every color. Anytime you have two people who are forced to work with one another and like he has to protect her and like they're mean to each other and the banter is amazing. Yeah. The Favorites by Lane Fargo. She's the one who also wrote They Never Learn. I love this is similar to like Taylor Jenkins Reid, so I'm gonna put it in I'll take one in every color because I love like historical fiction, but The Favorites is also a retelling of Wuthering Heights. um you can tell that pretty easily, but make them ice dancers going to the Olympics, and it's told very similar to like a Taylor Jenkins Reid book where there's like clips from a documentary and interviews. I recommend the audiobook because you get to hear all the different like voices and sounds and stuff. But yeah, it's like Wuthering Heights, but make the characters ice dancers. We Could Be Rats. This is another book by Emily Austen. I remember where I was when I read this. This is Heroine. I love her books. I love that they're witty and irreverent and make me feel things, but also make me laugh and don't leave me devastated. They leave me hopeful. Metal Slinger has the plot twist that gave birth to all other plot twists. I want to reread this ASAP. The second book just came out, but I need to reread that one before I can read the second one, so I need to do that. Another nonfiction is How to Giggle. If y'all didn't know, I'm a giggler. I listen to Giggly Squad religiously. This is their book they came out with. It's just so funny. It's just so funny. They give advice on like what your nail polish says about you, or how to poop in public the right way, or how to leave a party early if you're not having a fun time. Like, this is my cult. I'm definitely a part of it. I'm a Hannah all the way. I I love Giggly Squad. I'm obsessed. Promise Me Sunshine. I didn't love the first book I read by Kara Bastone, Ready or Not. It was like a surprise pregnancy trope, but like the whole book was about her pregnancy journey and her going to the gynecologist, obstetrician, whatever, and like her whole pregnancy journey. And as someone who's never going to experience pregnancy, I just was like, okay, this is making me sad, and also it's not relatable for me, and I'm done. So I didn't expect to love Promise Me Sunshine, and maybe because I went in with low expectations, and also but my sister was like, you need to read this, and I'm so glad I did because it was so good. She's going through grief and nannying for kids and living out of her backpack because she's too scared to go back to her apartment that she shared with her best friend who's passed away. And like, it's healing, it's a grief journey. I said, this book charmed my socks off. The author's voice was realistic and captivating from the very first page. There's a heavy focus on grief, so it took me a minute to get into it, but from about 30% on, I couldn't put it down. Highly recommend. And it's called Promise Me Sunshine. He says, well, I can't promise the sunshine, but I can do everything else. And I love it. Grief is a relationship. It's the way we figure out how to keep loving them even though they're gone. And in order to do that, we have to keep going and going and going. This is a love story, I swear. This is what happens when you promise to someone you'll live again. Ugh. Also, when you're feeling grief, just remember something good for you, something bad for you, and a change of scenery. This is heroin. This is drugs. Guys, we're almost done. Sunrise on the Reaping made me cry, devastated me, cremate me with it. I'll never recover from it. For my birthday weekend, the movie's coming out. I'm making my friends go see the movie together. Like, The Correspondent. This is my quote: join or get out. I've literally been telling people to read it. I've literally been buying people copies for their birthday and saying, read it. This is one that's told totally through letters and emails that the main character both sends and receives, and I'm obsessed with her. I said in my review, I said, I could tell this was a 5-star read when I wanted to text my friends a picture of every single page and realized it would be easier to just force them to read it for themselves. I can't shut up about it. Sybil Van Antwerp is the main character. She's in her 70s. I'm obsessed with her. I will think about her for a long time to come. I had to read the last few pages through a haze of my own tears, and I'm already planning to reread it and annotate it because I read the library copy and then I bought it. So now that I own a copy, which I think my sister actually has, I want to reread it and annotate it, but it's definitely a cult and definitely like read it or get out. Atmosphere. Again, this is another historical fiction that I want one in every color. I love this vibe. I don't like historical fiction, but I like Daisy Jones and the Six, Carrie Soto is back, The Favorites, Taylor Jenkins Reid, like things that are like almost like documentary style, and they're like more recent historical fiction. They're not like World War II. So Allie Hazelwood's novellas will never not hit. I can't believe it's not on here, but her Two Can Play, the one about like limerence in the video game, that should be 5 stars. I don't know why it's not. This was pure heroine. The girl is a vampire and he's a vampire hunter, and they both are like immortal and chase each other for centuries. And yeah, one day he like is trying to kill her, but then he saves her from someone else, and then he hits his head and gets amnesia. And so, like, she pretends she's not a vampire, and it's funny. It was a good time. Fake Skating, Lynn Painter's most recent, I think, young adult release. I think it's become a movie. Heroine, it's my cult. Cremate me with it. I'm obsessed with her. I love her YA books. Let's put it with your. Let's put them all together so they can be together. That's what I'm thinking. Um, Daddy Issues. I read this in less than 24 hours. It was more emotional and lit fic than I thought. I thought it was gonna be a romance. It's definitely lit fic. The romance I would feel is a subplot. It has more so to deal with her healing from her daddy issues and her like she's in her 30s. She's living with her mom. She has serious daddy issues. She wants to be a comic book illustrator, but like she's waitressing and she's in this really weird situationship, and she is at the pool at her mom's like condo, and she sees this dad just being like really the single dad being really active with his daughter, and it just brings up all these feelings she has about her dad. It wasn't what I expected, but it was exactly what I needed, and I'll take one in every color. I want more books like this. Speaking of books like this, Half His Age was very similar. People who don't like Half His Age by Jeanette McCurdy, I think they go into it with the wrong expectations. I think they think this is a romance. My guys, my brothers. This is not a romance. This is litfic. It is a cautionary tale. Let me just read my review. I said to the haters, this is litfic. It's not intended to be a romance. It's a cautionary tale. I started and finished this in less than 6 hours. It's a gripping cautionary tale and one of the most honest and gritty books I've ever read. It was addictive and heartbreaking and raw, and I'm so impressed with Jeanette McCurdy. She writes the way she wants to read books, was where you don't like draw things out, you just say what happened. I love her writing style. I also felt so seen in the main character of this book. Like, she feels sad or upset, she goes online and buys stuff that she doesn't have money for because it makes her feel better, or she like eats a whole bag of chips. It's almost also like a little off-putting. Like, it's not horror, but there's like scenes where you're like, and she did that with Cheeto fingers. And you're like watching it and you're like, this is a horror movie, this is a train wreck, this is awful, I can't look away. I don't think I own this. I want to own this. I want to read every version of this. I'm obsessed. Rights of this. Okay, another one that didn't make it on here somehow. Lost Lambs by Madeline Cash. That's one I would put under I'll take it in every color, because I literally looked up a Reddit thread of books to read next if you loved Lost Lambs by Madeline Cash, and I'll put the cover and my review up on the screen. But I'm obsessed with that book. Like, that whole like toxic family. It's about this mom and dad who decide to like have an open marriage, and they have these 3 daughters who are so unhinged, and you get like the whole family's POV, and they're in this small town that has like some crazy like rich guy doing like blood rituals. It was so bizarre and I loved it. Guys, I loved it. And then the last book is The Rights of the Starling, which is the second book to Shield of Sparrows. Guys, the gasp, I gasped. I I felt so dumb because the whole time I'm like, had no idea what the plot twist was. And at the end, I even remember thinking, how are these two characters in the same place at the same time? How are they not running into each other? Like, how have they not met? And then at the end, I was like, oh, oh my gosh, y'all, crazy. Anyways, this is not all inclusive. I know for sure there's 3 books at least I talked about that I guess I messed up and didn't add and meant to, and then there's also probably some books that upon reread would be 5 stars, but I didn't give 5 stars originally. There's also books that I read before I was on Goodreads or Fable and just never rated, but yeah, so thank you for being flexible and taking this video instead of the vlog that I had maybe promised. That'll come out next week, hopefully, but when I have better internet and my life has calmed down a little bit and I have more time to edit. Wish me luck because I'm trying to edit this tonight and schedule it to post tonight. It is Thursday and this is going to post tomorrow at 5 p.m. Anyways, thank you for watching episode 1 in my new series called Tipsy Tier Ranking. And I feel like I didn't even get that tipsy, guys. I had 2 of these. 5% alcohol per volume. Is that a lot? I don't know how alcohol works. Anyways, these are the books I want you to cremate me with. These are the books that I'm like, if you don't like these, I don't want anything to do with you. These are books that are better than drugs. These are books that I'm like, I want more like these or I want to own them. These are books that I want to reread ASAP. Books that made me cry. Books that were probably peer pressure. And books that would probably be 4 stars upon reread. Anyways, thank you for watching. Thank you for asking me what I'm reading and what I've read before. I love talking about what I'm reading, but I also want to hear what you're reading. So please leave a comment and tell me what you're currently reading or listening to or what you're watching. And if you're not reading anything, what do you want to read next? Are there any of these books that you also loved? Are there any books that I gave 5 stars here that you hated? Are there any books here that you're like, wait, that sounds interesting. I think I want to read that. Like, if there's one book here where you're like, wait, I'm adding that to my TBR, please tell me in the comments. So, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Bye!